It's yet another beautiful Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Alternative Voice. Your host tonight is none other than CLEOPHAS OLUOCH. It's been quite a long holiday on my end, and I know I've missed you. And hope you've been taking care. By the way, this is my first show since I graduated from Moy University with my Bachelor's of Science in Information Science. Yes, that has been the holiday that I had over the December till now. Welcome to the Alternative Voice, and we are back bigger and better. As we start our discussion tonight, we are talking about the challenges students face while studying abroad. How ready are you for this interview? Challenges facing students abroad. Welcome to all our social media accounts right on Facebook and YouTube at the Alternative Voice. Clicking and join. Joining me right in this discussion tonight is none other than Moses OMONDI. Moses OMONDI is joining us live from India. So if you are joining us now, remember we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Welcome, Moses, to this live broadcast, and this is the Alternative Voice.
Thank you, CLEOPHAS.
So tonight we are talking on matters, challenges facing students studying abroad, and you being our second guest this year, we'd like to start with a brief introduction. If you don't know who we are having tonight on this great show, is a student in India, and that university is called University of Mysore, and he's taking a course in Bachelor's Computer Application, and is in his fourth year. In the next 6 months, he should be done with his studies and heading back home. And so, welcome to this live broadcast on Facebook and YouTube, and Karibu. So to take us off, which other thing have I left? Nje Moses.
I think you've said it all the way it should be. And first of all, I just wanted to congratulate you on your graduation. So congratulations. I know it wasn't easy, and congrats. So yeah, you said it the way it is. And thank you for the introduction. I have someone knocking my door, so it's weird. I will not open. Anyway. Yeah.
Yes, you can just walk to that door and open. Maybe it's an emergency. You know, you're in COVID-19 pandemic. Yes. Yes, if you're joining us live on Facebook, on YouTube, and any other platform that you are in, welcome. This is the Alternative Voice, and tonight we are hosting Moses OMONDI. Moses OMONDI, as you've heard, is a student, a fourth-year student, a final year student from the University of Mysore, and is here to talk to us about the challenges he, being a student, a Kenyan citizen studying in India, have faced so far in India, and Karibu. So before we take to that part, Moses comes from Siaya County, the largest county in the world. Yes, and he's an alumni of Younger Mixed Secondary School, and I know you can hear that name and you say, oh, which kind of school is this? That's a big school that brought Moses to the face of the world, and today is being watched all over the world through the Alternative Voice. So, Karibu in this live broadcast, and tell us, what are the opportunities that are available for these individuals to go and study in other countries or to go and study abroad? Start with the opportunities, then we'll head to the challenges. Karibu, Moses.
Oh, thank you so much, CLEOPHAS. So yeah, I am just starting with, I'll first start with how to get such opportunities. So one, studying in India is such a very great opportunity that I think all students or guys who have the opportunity to take chance or exploit should really take advantage of. So one, me coming out of high school, I had the opportunity of either joining campus in Kenya or just doing something else. And yeah, I got a chance of joining Kenyatta University, and I studied there for some time. And then later on, just like most of these scholarship, this is a government scholarship. So it was announced through the Ministry of Education, Kenya. What happens is this: the government of Kenya receives scholarships from foreign governments. So there are quite a number of scholarships that the government of Kenya receives, and it's given the opportunity or the chance to administer or control everything from the advertisement to shortlisting to appointment of individuals who they feel are fit for such opportunities. So one, they have their own regulations, and it depends on scholarship to scholarship. But most of the regulations still stand out, especially for undergraduate. They are all the same at most of these scholarships, especially the government-run scholarships. These scholarships are not being given by the Kenyan government. They are just being administered by the Kenyan government. So what happens is each government, say Algerian government, I have a friend who studies in Algeria right now, or we can say Oman government scholarship or Indian government scholarship. These governments give scholarships to the Kenyan government. And as such, Kenyan government, because they know their education system and they know the standards of the education, they give out their standards and say, okay, we need someone who has these and these and these and these. And from that, once people apply, they shortlist, and then they give the names to the governments which announced or are giving the scholarship. And from there henceforth, you are either given a chance to go and study. So for the Indian government scholarship, there were a few criteria that were being considered. One is you need to have a B plane in your KCSE. So a B plane in your high school means that you are at least above average. And that means that, okay, you can easily handle a university education. So if you can comfortably handle a university education, then the government does not have an issue with one sending you abroad to go and study, because they know that one, your level of understanding is quite high, and you know you have a technical perspective of understanding of technical subjects. So most of the time people are being sent to study technical fields. Yes, you're given an opportunity to choose whatever you want, and there are a few exceptions of the programs you cannot undertake. Maybe it's because of how expensive these programs are, but most of the time they usually give priority to some programs which they feel are in need or the country needs so much. So yeah, one of them was being having a B plane in your high school. And then from there onwards, there is the age requirement. There is the year at which you had graduated. Most of the time they give out, they say that it shouldn't be at least at most, I think 4 or 5 years from the time you graduated your high school. And from that, they will now just take in your applications. And from your applications, they just check, do you really meet the basic requirements? The basic requirements are the requirements that they have stipulated on their adverts. So from there henceforth, if you fit in and you meet the cut, which are the cutoff or the standards, then they will call you for an interview. Now, from the interview, you will meet a panel of individuals at the Ministry of Higher Education. So once you meet these guys at the Ministry of Higher Education, these guys are among the, what do we call them? The heads of the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education. They will have to conduct an interview to find out whether you are an individual who really meets the standards. And it's not just someone who sent in an application, and it's not, what do we call it? It's not a ghost applicant, because in Kenya we are used to ghost workers at the Nairobi City Council.
Interesting. Talking about Nairobi City County, we are in a very tricky situation whereby we have an incoming governor. This is not a political show today. We're talking about matter scholarship. But to take you back, Bwana Moses Omondi, if you can briefly tell us on this matter of the time taken for these applications to be processed. At times, most are youth applicants. and they tend to give up very fast. They are not that patient when it comes to waiting. So how long should we take? And our Kenyan government, they've taken things to be online. Here, there are so many paperwork that needs to be done. So how long does it take, and how tedious is the process before you get there?
Now, this is not a one-time process. Let me be honest with you. This is not something you apply in January and in February you are like, okay, I'm in. This is something that you're going to wait for a very long time, because the process starts at around December. And by the time you travel, it's going to be June, July, August, the next year. So that's almost 8-9 months.
8 months.
If you're not someone who's really patient, it's going to inconvenience you a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Because now, though it's in stages, so you won't feel the need, you won't feel the what we call the weight as such. Because most of the time, what will happen is you are being called for the interviews, and then you will have to wait for some time. Applications will be done in February, in December. And then in January, February, you'll be called in for interviews. And then once you're called in for the interviews, you will after the interviews have been conducted, you'll be notified of guys who have been shortlisted. And if you have not been contacted, that means that you didn't make the cut. And then after that, you guys will be called again, and you'll be told, we need you to do this and this and this and this. And those things you need to do include, one, you need to certify your educational certificates through the Ministry of Education. Because at the end of the day, you might have applied with false documentation, or your certificates are not actually genuine. So you need to take them to the Ministry of Education, and they need to be certified.
The ones from River Road.
Exactly, the ones from River Road. They need to make sure that these certificates are genuine.
Amazing. So I can see it's such a tedious process. And if you're watching this show tonight, remember there is no hope lost. And in anything that you're doing, there's still that chance for you to get the scholarships and go abroad and get to learn something new. We have so many people who are watching us live on YouTube and Facebook, and YouTube. We have quite a number. Just Two Wheelers Dairies. Yes, Alex Ontanse, Farida Ali, JL Empire, Farida Ali again, Joshua Okor, thank you very much. Fountain of Life Revival Center, Tononoka, Mombasa, tuned. Thank you very much. The Alternative Voice, we are there. Kindly drop your comment and we'll be there. Kevin Amohaya, Millicent Ochieng, thank you very much. You have an ongoing workshop. Daniel Amemba, thank you very much for joining us live on YouTube. Aurelia Malel, thank you very much for joining us on Facebook as well. And everyone who is tuned today and tonight, we're talking about the challenges facing students studying abroad. And we've just started with the opportunities. And now I'll go straight deep into the topic of today. Having had the possible opportunities and how to apply them, I'll now bring our guest tonight to the main task of the night. Bwana Moses.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges? You came from Kenya and you went to India to take your degree course. How has it been? How has it been so far? And how many years have you been there so far?
So I've been here on and off. I've been here for 3 years. That means that during holidays, I usually travel back at home, or sometimes I go to other places. But yeah, I've been here on and off 3 years. Well, yeah, the challenges, just like any other thing in life, there has to be challenges. So these challenges might not be something that is more complicated or something that is devastating as some, but at the end of the day, there are challenges that you feel like they're inconveniencing you in one way or the other. So for me, if I have to talk about challenges, some might seem minor, some and these are just challenges according to how international students feel they are. It's not just my perspective. So one of the biggest challenges here is food. I'm not talking of abundance of food. There's so much food in India. In fact, I don't know how comes these guys produce a lot, because I think they have surplus. There is so much food.
So that's a challenge. The first challenge, food.
That's not the challenge. Yeah.
Yes.
The challenge is how this food is being prepared.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So curry, we are not into. So we call it spicy. It's called spicy.
Unajaribu kusema chakula ya Wahindi kuna pilipili na viungo kadhaa.
Exactly.
Farida Ali, unasikia sasa kuna viungo kadhaa na watu wa pwani wanapenda viungo. How is this a challenge? Upendi pilipili?
Hii level wezani nayo. Hii ni ya mapro hii.
Ni ya mabazenga.
Ni ya mabazenga. So most of the time you find a white. So I have friends from, let's say, Asia, and most of the guys, like Afghanistan or Uzbekistan, they have they're white, and you see when someone gets an intense pleasure, the face will turn red. So mtu akikula hivi pilipili unaona sura imeturn to red kabisa.
Atifa amepigwa na butwa.
Exactly. And then venye unaenda tao and you eat the chipo and you add a lot of your nose starts running too. Your nose starts running.
Yeah. You start having the running nose, and during this COVID-19 pandemic, someone might think you're positive, yet you've just taken too much pepper.
Exactly. So yeah, that is something that is really inconveniencing. But most of the time when you go out to restaurants, because now because of most other students will try to adjust, and others would now figure out and start cooking for themselves. But eating out here is very cheap. Because restaurants are quite cheap. I think when you go out, and you can go out and eat maybe in a Chinese restaurant, or when you go to an Indian restaurant, let's say just an average Indian restaurant, you'll spend around 180 to 200, and that's a meal that you'll eat to your satisfaction.
180 to 200 Kenyan shillings or Indian rupee?
Indian rupee, that would be like almost 280 Kenya shillings, 250 to 280 Kenya shillings.
Lunch.
That's lunch or even dinner. And that's food. That's food, man. That's food. Like 200 Kenya shillings in Kenya, I think in Tao you'll just get that small box of, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a joint in Westlands where you get 2 plates of nyama fry and ugali.
Exactly. Utakula kibandaski huko. Wezi vikarosa. So yeah, here it's just a very good standard hotel that you will eat a very good, not as hotel. I was told a hotel you need is a place where you can sleep in. It's a restaurant.
Okay.
So in a restaurant, you'll get into a very good, comfortable, cozy restaurant that you will eat to your satisfaction. So when you order food, most of the time there, you'll ask for mild. And at the same time, mild for you or for us, it will be very, very intense. So inakuwaga kidogo iko challenging hapo. So chili and curry, that is something. Chili in curry and chili in food, spicy. So food hapo kwa just kidogo inakuwaga ni difficult kidogo, especially for international students.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That could have been the opposite of what others are saying. JL Empire anasema Waluya lazima tu apply huko. Hebu rudia tena. Ama sikusikia poa. Ati food iko kwa wingi. Food iko kwa wingi. So thank you very much for that wonderful introductory remarks that we have from you, Mr. Moses. And I would like to get this response from you. You came from Siaya County, Kenya, in East Africa, in Africa. Then you went to Asia, and you went straight to India. How did you find the language barrier? How is it a big problem and a big challenge to international students? First, did you face it?
Yeah, there is a language barrier. And the funny thing, I'll tell you a very short story, you'll laugh. But there is a language barrier. Now, because we came through the university, at the university, your faculty will speak in English. And students will definitely speak in English because our mode of education is English. Now the locals, talking to the locals is a challenge because not all locals, and even in Kenya, I can tell, Kenyans, especially in Nairobi, we have a fairly good command of English. Most of the time, it's very easy to find maybe 3 or 4. You might correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe 6 out of 10 individuals you'll interact with in Nairobi, they might as well speak English.
Good English.
Good English, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, here it poses as a challenge, a little bit challenge. But at the same time, it gives us a chance to learn words that we were not accustomed to, or a language that we didn't even know ever existed in our life. So there is a challenge in understanding and speaking the local language here with the locals, but in the university, I wouldn't say there is a challenge per se. So there is definitely what we call it, a language barrier.
Yes.
Yeah. Coming back to my story, is there was a day I was in Mumbai and I was going back home. And the funniest thing about India is that not the whole of India, the different parts of India, there are different people who speak different languages. So when you go maybe to Mumbai, there are Maharashtrians who speak Mahari. Is it Mahari? I think I don't know. There is a language there. And then you come to Karnataka, they speak Kannada. You go to Tamil Nadu, they speak Tamil. So when I was at the airport, I met these 2 Indians. One was from the north and the other one was from the south. And not all of them speak the same language. And not all of them have a good command of the English language. And we had an issue with the ticket and stuff. So this guy speaks broken English and this other guy speaks broken English. And I am there, the only foreigner. And this guy cannot understand this guy, and they're from the same country. Do you imagine I was the one who was translating to these 2 guys?
Oh.
And they are from the same country. So it was scenario. It was a very funny. Yeah.
And it's not that because you're in the university. I don't know if others also are interested in learning other languages as we Kenyans, because you tend to realize that most of our graduates, even those who are trying to leave this country to go to other countries, they must have that good command in English. Especially, I don't know if you did that, how it is called, TFSL or what, the language testing that you're being given. Did you go through that?
No, we didn't go through that because Kenyans, our mode of education, or our mode of education is conducted in English, right? So in high school, we were being taught in English. So all of our subjects were being taught in English. I think you meant TOEFL, which is TOEFL.
Yes, IELTS, TOEFL as well.
Yeah. So we didn't do those exams because we came here with a very good command over the English language.
Amazing. Yeah. And so Alex Onsanse, who is watching us, I guess from Mombasa, you can tell us where you're watching us from. You've really been part of this discussion from the first day. And Anauliza, what about teaching? Are you having different classes in different languages, or it's only one language and that's the universal? So
come again in terms of the way they teach.
I think that's what he meant. And what about teaching? Is it on the same? Then he goes ahead to ask, what's the national language in India? I thought it's Hindi. And if it's English, is it British English or American one?
So yeah, I'll start with this question and then I'll go back to the teaching one. So the national language in India is Hindi, but not all Indians speak Hindi. And because Indians were colonized by the British, they tend to speak the British English. But just like any other place, we have a very specific dialect that leans towards the Indian language. So the Indians speak mostly a Hindi type of English. The same way Nigerians have their own pidgin English, and Ugandans, they have their own English. Yeah, it's a British English, but you can tell. I'm not talking about the accent per se, but yeah, there is a way they speak their English. So yeah, they were colonized by the Brits, but they speak British English, and it has a very different flavor.
Amazing.
When you talk about the teaching,
yes,
the teaching, I find it very okay, because now for me, I have classes, and then we have lab classes, and lab classes are just purely coding classes, and you are taught how to code, how to build stuff. So it's more of, there's a theoretical part and there is the practical part, which is very good. It's splendid.
Oh, amazing. And now, Moses, I want to go more personal on this next question. And you being in India and as a student, there's one part that so many people really fear, and that's on the finances. Have you ever run low on finance, on money? And how did you go about this? Did you keep calling back home? What hustle did you do? What hustle have you ever engaged yourself in while in India, when you ran out of cash?
So I was so lucky enough to have come here on a full scholarship, and that means that everything was being paid for, including my stipend.
Wow.
So
by the Kenyan government?
By the Indian government.
Indian government.
Yeah, so I've never had a need to want to either meet a demand that I cannot handle. So all of these has always been taken care of. Are there part-time jobs? I've never seen a student doing a part-time jobs, but if you are in the tech field, just like most places, if you are a very good developer, you can get jobs here to be a developer. You can easily, but then you really need to be good at it. So if you're really good at it,
I know, and sorry for cutting you short. I know you have a number of students also who are from other countries and in other universities within India. Have you ever met or heard of any scenario where they ran out of cash? And as someone who is on full scholarship, how have you always offered help to such students, if there's any?
So we have I really seen someone who has undergone those challenges? I don't really know, but I've had friends who have had maybe money issues, and at the same time, me being here, I've also had money issues. So sometimes you can just when you have guys who you've built trust with, you can easily borrow money from them, or they can easily borrow money from you with the promise that they will return on time. I've never seen an adverse condition whereby someone really needs money. Oh, there was one student over here who had an accident, and he had to undergo an operation. So such cases, you'd find guys, especially guys from your country, jump in and then try to either contribute, do like a small harambe, so that you can take care of those needs. So there is a sense of togetherness, especially here for international students, in terms of those needs being met.
Interesting insights coming from Moses Omondi, live from India, and we are here in Nairobi, Kenya, and everyone who is joining us all over the world. We have Brian Akeno joining us from Kisumu. Alex Onsansa anasema today I'm in Voi. Thank you very much for joining us, always being part of this discussion. Please post your questions to Mr. Omondi, and I know he's more than willing to answer them and give the full explanation on how life abroad is and how you can manage once you get your scholarship to go there. And we have some questions. If we can get them running on the screen, we can be able to give them some shout outs as well, both from YouTube and Facebook. If you can get them, there's a question, and if you can just note it down, it's from JL Empire. And is there discrimination? Na pia as youth, kuna vile unaweza katia mwindi. Unajua vile sisi wa Kenya Tulali class. Unaweza katia muhindi? Yeah, that's a question that Moses Omondi will be answering after this short break that we're taking to take some questions. And it's 32 minutes past 8 p.m. Kenyan time, and we are live both on Facebook and YouTube. Kindly join us and drop your comments as they come through. I know there are quite a number. There are quite a number of comments on Facebook, and we have Arishwaya, Ashok. I'm in North India. It is okay to get a part-time job, but in South India, it is difficult. Okay. Millicent Ochieng tuned. That's from YouTube. Thank you very much, Millicent. I know you've just started your your meeting. Yes. Thank you very much. Aurelia Malel following the one for Ashok. Yes. Dorothy Nyaresh, I'm here. Challenges facing students abroad. Thank you very much for being here, Dorothy. And Farida Ali, who is watching us from Mombasa, I just joined now. I wanted to inquire about the paperwork application. I hear it's hectic. That has been answered. Thank you very much, Farida. Hope you got that right. Kevin Amohaya, this is a great show. Thank you very much, Kevo. Yes, Mombasa locked. That's Fountain of Life Revival Center, Tunanoka, Mombasa. Thank you very much. Daniel Amemba, locked. Thank you very much for being part of this discussion. Joshua Okoth, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. And we have, you guys look amazing. JL Empire, thank you very much. And we are here. Milka Kwams, joining us pale Facebook, YouTube, anasema following. Farida Ali, hiyo tumeshajibu. On Sanse, this channel is the most underrated youth channel, and opportunities and sensible information always being shared. Good job with the alternative voice. We are always here for you, and we'll ensure that we continue with the same spirit. Dorothy Moindi Nyareshi joining us live on Facebook. Thank you very much for joining us, Doro. Two-Wheeler Diaries, can hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much. Aurelia Malel following. Daniel Ojaka, our technical director. Yes, ako hapo, the production guy. Anasema information should reach our youth. Good topic. Thank Mr. Moses for sharing. And thanks, Mr. Moses, as well for coming through in this discussion. We have Shak Charles. Thank you very much. Anasema, Farida Ali alisema, I feel attacked. Farida, we are just here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. And I know we are having a good time with you right from Mombasa. Kevin Amzil, Cleo, you look so sharp. You know, at times you feel flattered reading your own comment. Thank you very much, bro. It's a new year, and this is my first show I'm hosting with my degree. Yes. How is the culture barrier? I think you mentioned part of the food difference. Now, if you can go down to the recent comments, we have Milka Kwams. Thank you very much for joining this discussion tonight. And we take it to another level where we want to engage Bwana Moses. How does it feel being away from home? And how does it feel being miles away from your support system, your family, your friends, your colleagues, those students who you shared with class in primary and other levels of education? How does it feel being away from them? Is there something?
It's hectic sometimes because I'll tell you, there was a time during the lockdown, the whole lockdown period, we were all indoors and nobody was going out, was allowed to go out, unless now it was you either wanted to go for a medical checkup or you really needed something urgently. So I stayed indoors and I forgot that I was actually in India. So when I walked out, that's when I realized, oh, I'm in India. I thought that I was in Kenya, actually. Like it never dawned on me that I was in India. So sometimes the reason as to why I'm saying this is sometimes you feel so homesick that you don't even realize that, okay, there are things or places I miss going to. There are people I miss seeing, you know. So that takes a toll on you, especially when things are difficult or your education becomes quite hectic or you miss a certain meal, or you miss your parents, or you miss your friends, or your siblings. So there is some kind of homesickness that hits a toll on you. Well, just like any other thing, you can come over here, create friends, and not feel like there's a need to. But anyway, home, east or west, home is always the best. There's always that of wanting to,
Yes.
there's always that sense of wanting to go back home and see home.
Amazing. And so, Moses, if you miss such a network, how have you tried to mitigate such a challenge? Because I know there are technologies, and you're also taking a course on computer applications. How many times? I know this now will go a bit personal. How many times do you go and see your loved ones? Maybe kama kuna mtu nyumbani, ama how can you get in touch? How can you get in touch?
Getting in touch, we speak every week with my mom. I speak every week with her. But going home, I used to go home all the holidays, apart from the one we used to have a lockdown. And it's because also I'm in my final year, so there's no need of me coming back home. And I'll just be leaving, and I'll be leaving for good. So every year I used to come back home and keep in touch with everyone and just touch base.
That brings me to the other challenge.
Yeah.
Wanting to stay in India, wanting to stay in the country where you went for scholarship, where you went for your studies, wanting to stay in that country forever. That's a challenge that is also bringing other students down when it comes to the life in the other countries outside their borders. So wanting to stay, you don't want to stay in India, you want to finish and go, while others really want to stay, but they don't have the permission. How does it go? Personally, the farthest I've gone so far, I've crossed to Magufuli, and I was at Museveni, and yes, and the rest I've watched on TV thoroughly, and I can tell you directions to India, Kochi, South India, North India, and we can tell you all those through a movie. But now you being there personally, how can you avoid or conquer such a challenge of not wanting to come back home, wanting to stay there?
Well, that would still go back to the same point we were talking about, homesickness. There's just to a certain extent that you will feel you are at home. Now, I was recently speaking to a friend of mine, and I was telling them, for me, my parents were born in Siaya. And then I was born and raised in Nairobi. So most of the time, the conversations they used to have at home were, one day we will have to go back home. We will have to go back home. And I was like, but I feel like this is your home. You guys came here, settled here, like for over 20, 30 years, 40 years. Like, you are accustomed to what is here. But there was always that sense of belonging that home is to them, that Nairobi wasn't to them. And that is what I felt when I'm here. So you might have settled here, or you might settle here, but at the same time, there is always that sense of home that India will never give you. So for me, the reason as to why I would not want to stay here is because I would want to apply my skills back at home. And two, I want an African as an African, I want to use my Africanness to help develop Africa. Because, the reason as to why I got these skills is to make Africa better. So it wouldn't do any justice me putting my skills somewhere else.
Africa is our business, and that's where we all belong. Even if you go out, you'll still have this space to come back and develop your county, your country. And now this brings me to the other point. You being from Siaya County, from Kenya, going right there in India for your scholarship with a full scholarship that you got from the government of India. Have you ever had that serious FOMO? Yes, that fear of missing out. Yes, in other groupings from friends and even your classmates, because of course in campus it comes with so much pressure You really want to please a number of people, and that's where most campus students, even in Kenya, have gone wrong. You live a life because you don't want to miss out of that group, and now you are in the international space. How do you go about this and trying to mitigate the issues of FOMO, the fear of missing out?
Well, for me, I've never been someone who would be influenced by peer pressure or someone who goes with how the group wants people to go to. In fact, if there is anyone who influences people, it's me. So I've never felt left out, because I know, especially if you have a direction and you know what you really want, I don't think you'd ever feel left out, because you know what you really want and you're pursuing it. I feel if you have a misdirection, that's when most of the time you'll feel left out. So for me, it has never been something that has been, it's a non-issue for me. Let's just be as short and as clear as possible. That's a non-issue for me. I've never felt like there's a fear of being left out, or I've never felt like I've been left out. But most of the time, I integrate myself very well with all students, and I try as much as possible to maintain a very good relationship with everyone. Because at the end of the day, we are all here to build upon everything and every single skill set that we might have. And that means not only our educational welfare, but also our social welfare. So having a very good understanding and having a very good relationship with other students means a lot. So yeah, I've never felt left out, or I've never felt like I'm missing out in anything, or any kind of issue. Hello. What's wrong? So yeah, just before he comes out, I can speak about.
Yes, we are back, and I think it was a technical itch.
Just before he comes out, I can. Sure.
Doubt if that's India on my end, and so
we
are almost bringing it to, yeah, we might be bringing it to a near end. And so I didn't know you're the president of Kenyan students.
Yeah, I am the president of Kenyan students in Mysore. Thank you for acknowledging my
president.
Thank you.
Yeah. You are the president. You're the Babowino of their time.
I'm the Babowino here, and it's a privilege having served students over here. And I think I have the best group of students over here. They are just the best. So cooperative, so understanding, so engaging, and they are so mature. So Kenyans are great intellects, and I'm really proud to have been representing them for the past 2 years while still here.
Amazing. And so, Moses, if we are bringing it to an end, I know there are challenges all over, and there are those who really want to go ahead and have their degrees or any other level of study in India. What's your word for
my advice to anyone who'd really want to come over here and study is
Yes, Moses, did you hear that?
Yeah. My advice for anyone who'd really want to come here and study is, take the chance. it's gonna pay off. And an investment in education is never a lost investment. It's gonna pay off. It might not pay off immediately, but it's gonna pay off in the long run. So take a chance. Make sure you reach out to students or guys you know over here who can help you find really good schools. Do your due diligence and do your research to find really good programs that would really enhance or build your skill. Because if you have to travel here, travel just because you're traveling. Don't just travel because you're traveling to come and study abroad, but travel because you're going to get something of value. And it's a skill that you feel like it's going to enhance or build your capacity as an individual. So take the chance, come over here. You'll never regret it. You will have a very good and enjoyable moments over here. And I can advise anyone who wants to come. India is open and India is fun. Just come and study and be the best for whatever means possible. But do your research first. Do your research.
Yes, seemingly we are having that problem persisting, and we'll just like to take it home. And as we bring it to a close tonight, we all know that students studying abroad, they have their own challenges ranging from the cultural barrier, the language barrier, and the fear of missing out, running low on cash, and everything that comes with all those challenges. But we are strong as human beings, and we try as much as possible to ensure that we mitigate such challenges to the better of our society, and also to come back home and bring the change that we truly deserve. And so I'll take the comments and the final questions from the viewers who are live on Facebook and YouTube. If you can get the comments right from that account. Duncan Mwathi, the show is always educative. Thank you very much, bro, for tuning in. Always. Mwalimu Jugani, Eric. Jungani tuned in. Thank you very much for being there. Aishwarya Ashok. Hey, tell me about the restrictions that you face there in Mysore. In Mysore. Yes. You have the restrictions?
We had the government restrictions against COVID. I don't know if there are other restrictions that she's trying to talk about. But yeah, there was that restriction of movement and stuff like that. But right now, all the restrictions were uplifted. And
okay. Maxwell Onyango tuned.
Yeah.
I know you are even amazing. Maxwell Onyango, mark me present. I know you are tuned either from University or in Eldoret or in Kisumu. Thank you very much. Jel Empire. Alafu, can foreigners participate in extracurricular activities? Lastly, if I'm willing to sponsor myself, can I get a school? And how? Talk about the fee in comparison to Kenya for science courses. So is it so much expensive to study in India when you are on personal sponsorship?
Extracurricular activities, yes. Foreigners can take part in extracurricular activities. It's very possible. Sponsor yourself. Yeah, it's very possible to sponsor yourself. I can advise you to go and check. There's a website called Study in India. Go check that website. It will give you a list of institutions and universities and courses that are offered over here. And these are government institutions, private institutions. So it depends on the school you choose. There are all types of schools that you want. There are very expensive schools, which are elite schools. There are also average schools, and there are also cheap schools. So it depends on what you want. But at the end of the day, courses are being regulated by the government. It's only that elite schools will try to teach differently, and average schools will just be average and stuff like that. So you can go and check out. You can check out the courses you'd want to study at Study in India, and then from there, build up from there. And if you have questions, you can reach out to me personally, or you can reach out to guys who you might know in India to help you with it.
Thank you. Kevin Amuhaya, I have a question. While studying abroad, do you experience racial discrimination in such In such a case, what mechanism do the government or institution put in place to ensure this issue is looked upon? Have you ever faced one on the issues to do with race, the racial discrimination?
I've never faced racial discrimination, but I feel like it's subtle sometimes. And there's a difference between racial discrimination and ignorance. So most of the time, Indians will tend to look at you differently, but that is just ignorance because maybe they might not have seen an African before. Now, is there discrimination over here? I've heard about it. Have I experienced discrimination personally? No, I have never experienced discrimination. I've only experienced discrimination while traveling, and that is at airports. They tend to treat Africans quite differently. And that is not just an Indian thing, it's an international thing.
Wow. So I think that has been amazing. If you can get the last question. There are those people who are following on Facebook, Gladys Hope, Don Jack, I know you are cross-platform, Samuel Onyango Oriwo joining us. I know he's watching from Siaya. Joy watching us from Ngong, Nairobi. Shak Charles, how is the culture barrier? That was answered. Eva Dibeki, thank you very much. Dennis Juma, Okinda Bill, all these people got the links and they're there watching. Dixon Papale, thank you very much for joining us live on YouTube as well as Facebook. And so Cedric Kayeka watching us from Kakamega is here to come back to Nairobi and is doing an amazing job wherever he is. So ladies and gentlemen, it's 53 minutes past 8. That's 7 minutes to the top of the hour. That's 9 p.m. Kenyan time. And we know it's been amazing joining you. Bwana Moses, thank you very much for taking the time, for being with us tonight and for sharing that which you have. It's been a pleasure. Till next time, it's been awesome. I've been your host for tonight, CLEOPHAS. You have yourself a good night. And take care.